Misty! Wow, that's a really epic intro. Hey everyone, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to Twin Talks Ballet. If you don't know me, I am a mindset coach for dancers. I'm a former professional ballet dancer and also I teach ballet. And that being said, I recently journeyed into the realm of making reaction videos on my YouTube channel, which has been quite the thrill. So I wanted to thank you guys who commented on my reaction video to Misty Copeland's masterclass, especially those of you who gave me the suggestion to check out Eric Conrad's YouTube channel, which we will be doing a little review reaction video to today. Specifically, the reason why Eric Conrad came up is because I had noted in that masterclass video, which will be linked of course, that Misty had quite, in my opinion, what looked like an unconventional approach to bar work and technique. Now, I appreciated it. I had an open mind, so I was excited to learn her reasons for why she was, for example, really separating her heels apart in first position as a hyperextended dancer, or also how she had really flattened the curves in her spine, or how she was taking her torso and stacking it largely over the heel of her foot rather than what I've been taught and many dancers in America have been taught is to transfer it either over the arch or over the ball of the foot. Comment if you've also learned that way. Eric's approach, which I found out that Misty had been trained by Eric quite recently, and that was the explanation for some of the differences in her approach compared to what most American dancers are used to. And so that led me to be very curious. So I did do a deep dive, went down the rabbit hole of the Ballet Conrad YouTube channel. I must say, I was kind of expecting that I would disagree with him quite a bit. I was kind of also expecting that I wouldn't like Eric quite as much as I do. Honestly, I had a meh first impression because the first one I ever saw of his was him reacting to Claudia Dean's video about how to get higher extensions. Now, namely, what I remember from watching it long ago is I thought he was, the whole energy of the video was quite womp womp. He seemed quite exasperated. Yeah, it just seemed pretty negative, and I just, not to say like people can't have differing opinions at all. I think that's valid, that's good. I think we need differing opinions. Now, after going into his YouTube channel and really with an open mind learning about his philosophy, what I do actually appreciate is that he is very systematic in his approach to technique. He also, what I really appreciate about Eric is that he can articulate very well his reasons why he does everything he does. That is something I deeply respect because I will say one of my complaints with many teachers in the ballet industry is from a young age, their students get used to hearing their teachers just throw out meaningless platitudes that really aren't articulated. There isn't a clear reason why we are trying to pull up. What does it mean to pull up? Which I addressed in another video, which I'll link. I reacted to teachers' comments that don't make any sense, basically. And I find it to be very refreshing how Eric really has strong and I think valid reasons for why he trains dancers the way he does. So I think that's great. I also really appreciate his philosophical approach to ballet and how he'll post videos where he's really commenting more on the mind-body connection or something that's prevalent in ballet culture right now. So I do like that. I feel like I have a bit of a kindred spirit with him in that way. And lastly, one thing that I think is interesting about him and that I think might rub people the wrong way is similar to what I observed when he reacted to Claudia Dean's video, is he will just blatantly make videos kind of commenting on very famous dancers that are, for example, Skylar Brandt from American Ballet Theater. She's a principal now. He will shamelessly make a video basically breaking down why he believes she does not possess an understanding of the fundamentals of ballet placement and technique. So that's a pretty bold thing to claim on the internet. That being said, I encourage you to watch those videos for yourself and form your own opinions. At first I noticed, oh, I understand why he ruffles some feathers, but I will say, I do think he makes some valid points in those videos, and it also is important to remember that just because someone has a big name, that doesn't mean we are beyond correction. Let's get on with this center exercise challenge video.
The number one question that we get from me to answer.
Well, the question is mostly like, so people watching me doing with on the bar, both hands, right, facing the bar, doing the tendu, and they thinking that, so okay, when I do the tendu, right?
Yeah.
You're saying there's no weight.
Right.
But normally it's, even if you read the Vagana or whatever, the question is, it goes like, before you move this leg, you need to take the weight on the same side, right?
You do, but not by leaning or moving.
Right, but well, that's what we're talking about. Nobody understands how do I hold my weight so the transition happens without.
Yes, truly, I don't understand. I will say, obviously, we're going to learn more when I hit play again, but I will say this is a question that I've had when I watch Eric's content, because what I see is the dancers keep their spine. Mostly, it looks like it's aligned with their heel. And just from a physics standpoint, it just doesn't make sense. If we were to hold out like a heavy suitcase on one arm and hold it out over here and then not compensate by leaning one way, then the load would be really, really heavy on our arm. Maybe that's not the perfect example. It just seems like in order to have the outer leg, what we would call the working leg, seem light, then the spine should be aligned more towards the center of the foot or the ball of the foot. That's the way I've been trained. So I'm really interested to see his response here.
In a word, it's turnout. It's turnout. Turnout is what does that. Let me talk you through it again. Just you know what to do. So don't tighten your rear with your rear. Now we're going to do it this way a little bit. So go ahead and let's just adjust your heel. But yeah, yep. Okay. You feel all right?
Mm-hmm.
So just go ahead and choose a leg and relax the shoulder, and just do a tendu. And one, and the other leg, and two.
Y'all, this is so confusing to me. Okay, here's something that I'm wondering, a question, because in these reaction videos, I don't want to make a fool out of myself by making too many assumptions. It's going to happen. I'm going to be wrong. Sorry. Since I know that Eric Conrad, I think on his website, he sells ballet classes that might go further into depth with this. Maybe he's just creating some interest with a little instruction in these videos. But yeah, the way he separated her heels, the way it looks like that kickstand effect is kind of happening when a dancer is having to put weight or press into the toe when they're doing a tendu because they aren't sufficiently balanced over their standing leg. So that is what it looks like is happening. I'm so confused. So let's learn. Hey dancers, I want to briefly pause today's video to let you know about my services as a mindset coach for dancers. If you haven't heard, I provide one-on-one coaching to help dancers develop a healthy and confident mindset around performing as a dancer so that you can overcome things like insecurities that constantly distract you in class. You know, you look in the mirror and all you see is everything that's wrong, feeling like you're never going to be good enough. You always feel like the imposter, always inadequate. And all these things hold you back from not only feeling confident and enjoying your journey, but also from achieving the goals that you want to achieve in your career and in your training. So if you are looking to overcome those mental hurdles that have been bothering you for a long time, if you're ready to finally do something about it, I am here to help you as a dancer, from someone who understands your experience and has tools to specifically guide you, that I have evidence they work in this industry. I've lived through these tools myself and have been profoundly positively impacted by using them. I want to walk you through adopting that positive and healthy mindset as a dancer so you can perform your personal best with confidence and joy. So if that sounds like something you want, I would be so happy to support you. Simply click the link below to visit kirstenkemp.com and learn more about my coaching services. And the next step is to schedule a 30-minute free coaching consultation where you and I will connect. We'll discuss your goals, what challenges you're facing. I will describe more about how specifically I would work with you to get you to where you want to be in the coaching process, answer any questions you have, and determine for you if you feel that mindset coaching would be just the thing to help you feel the way you want to feel as a dancer and achieve what you've wanted to achieve. So reach out, this support is available, take advantage of it, and let's get on with the rest of the video.
Do the right leg and hold. Tighten this, rotate this leg, close. And then one more time, tighten this one and keep it tightened and go, relax. Now, you see this the first time with the left leg, you're a little bit like this, and the second time you were not. This is important to show because the second time I tapped your leg and you engaged in more. Turnout is what does this. It's not simple to explain. You know that. It's taken 3 years to get to this point. Maybe you can explain how it feels.
The second time on both legs actually felt better than yours, because the second time I was concentrating mostly on both legs tight.
Rotating
and tight.
Right.
The first one kind of was like, this one was tight, this one went loose. And then I know that's why I wobbled.
Yeah.
Because I didn't catch the weight.
One thing that I do really agree with so far that is really important to understand is doing these movements like tendus well isn't just something we judge based off of A, can you do it? B, how aesthetically pleasing does it look? It's also a matter of how much are you consciously, and eventually once this becomes your muscle memory, unconsciously able to hold your muscles in a state of contraction. That's obviously, it's not going to be so gripped to where you're stiff, you can't move, you're exhausted by the most simple movement. But in my opinion, it looks like he would agree, I'm going to assume, that a state of contraction where your muscles are held is really, really important, regardless of whether or not you can technically get away with relaxing more or not. So what I do agree with is he is demonstrating, or Svetlana, his wife, is demonstrating how important it is to hold your muscles while you are doing these movements in order to train yourself and build up the strength to be able to handle more complex movements. So agreeing with that so far, even though I'm still a little bit confused about why not transfer the spine over the standing leg.
So this one was slightly loose, this one was barely tight, but that kind of like went off.
Right.
And then the second time I engaged both and I went up.
Yeah. Yeah. I can give you the technical side of it for them. You want to try it? You have the energy to do it again? There's one adjustment that I would like to show, so I'm going to kind of hold on to you a little bit. The one thing she's still doing that creates instability, everybody does it, is she's trying to close her leg, right? Instead of allowing the turnout to decide how close the heels get. Because this is another question everyone's about, the heels, the heels. You cannot artificially create a target for your heels, let's say, and do anything but create instability in your body. And that creates injury. Right? So the most productive way to do this is you work on your turnout and your placement, same thing, and that will decide where the heels go and where everything goes, right? It'll decide the distance of your tendu, your tendu, it'll decide your first position, your second position, your fourth position. Your turnout decides the angles and the measurements and the geometry of your body. Why? Because when you're dancing, as I've said in the master classes, you can't make those judgments on the fly. What you can do is develop your turnout and your placement so that you consistently have the same geometry, whatever you're doing, whatever you're dancing in ballet.
Okay. So this is making a little bit more sense so far. One thing that I did pick up from some of Eric's other videos that I think is actually beneficial is instead of training dancers to arbitrarily hit some physical markers like perfectly crossing your heel with your back toe and vice versa in a fourth position, instead of hitting that mark of having your bones in that position, he trains dancers to have a functional fourth position based off of what their turnout personally can sustain, and allowing their degree of turnout or what their body will allow them to do to then dictate the place where they put their bones, essentially. I think that's interesting, and I agree with the mindset of function over just hitting these arbitrary positions. Now, what I would be interested to see and to learn about is how does this approach of being mindful of the individual's body and then letting that individual's body and training and strength so far then dictate their positions. How does that fit in with, for example, for women, fitting into a corps de ballet? Because especially when I was at the Houston Ballet Academy, there was this obsession with absolute precision. Every single dancer in the corps de ballet, no matter what you were doing, we had to have the exact degree of all of our legs were crossed at the same angle in a tendu derriere. All of our feet were turned out to the exact same degree. Everything was so precise. In the approach to technique at the academy, it was kind of a one-size-fits-all, which is very common in ballet. And it seems like Conrad kind of teaches the approach in the reverse order. Build up the strength and then approach the positions for a specific aesthetic. I'm not sure if that's how he would verbalize it, but at least that's how I'm understanding it so far.
This is how it begins. So remember, keep your relaxed from the, so just do core, right? And then engage your rotation, and that will get your butt involved. So don't do it from the butt, right? That's good right there. Arms. Okay. Right. Do you feel back a little bit? So if you do more core, more rotation, let's see, pull yourself forward that way. Yeah. Now do maximum core, maximum rotation. We're just doing one, one, or one, one. I don't care which order. You decide. And allow, yes, and then the one, and allow the geometry to decide itself. Okay, now see, yes. That one you tried to close, and that's why the geometry, you see me? Try the left leg again.
Okay, I'm understanding. At least I'm going to say maybe, I'm not sure what Svetlana would do in a performance situation. Let's say this wouldn't happen, but I'm wondering what Conrad would suggest if she were to go on stage and to just have to do 4 tendus alternating in first position. Would he suggest that she gets her heels together? I'm not sure. What I'm appreciating so far is it seems in his videos that he's not demonizing the use of the quadriceps, which I think is important, people, especially in America. What I've heard from teacher after teacher is this demonization of using the quads. And yes, it is not advised to grip the quad muscles, to clench them to where you just create bulk without function, no reason. A lot of ways that teachers verbalize this and they teach, they swing in the opposite direction, which is don't use the quad, quote, in a développé, lift from the back of the leg. Sorry, that makes no sense anatomically. The quads are they are in control of lifting the legs. That's one of their functions in addition to stabilizing the knee joint. I could go on and on and on. They're such a powerful group of muscles. And so then to disregard them, to glorify using the hamstring or the back of the leg, and to create this illusion in which we kind of demonize the use of the quads. We say it's not important. We create this fear as teachers, like they don't want to bulk up their quads. And yeah, so on and so forth. I think that is pretty ridiculous, though I understand that a lot of those teachers, maybe they're just kind of recycling old ideas from their training. What they're trying to say in the positive sense is create long, lean lines where you feel this sense of continuation in how you're using your muscles from the top of the leg all the way through the ends of the toes. So what I want to say about Conrad is he is encouraging Svetlana to engage her quads, her whole leg. Of course, he was not just saying isolate the quads, but it's just seeming that he's wanting and encouraging her to use her whole thigh at least to find rotation in the legs first and then go to the glutes. Now I'm glad he came back around to using the glutes, and in his teachings he does talk about turnout coming from the glutes as well, which is important because so many teachers just throw around that idea of like turnout comes from the hip. Yes, a lot of it happens within the hip joint, not all of it, but a lot of it. But the hip isn't a muscle. Muscles move bones. So I do like so far, to be complimentary, that Eric is having Svetlana isolate and find that rotation coming from her thighs and the whole leg, of course. Even rotation happens in the lower legs as well, of course. But yeah, just wanted to say that. And then he's also, of course, including the glutes, which gets a lot of the job done.
It's harder because, you know, it's functionally a little bit longer, you could say, but it's really just stretched more.
And what is this thing?
Well, that's the other point, isn't it? That when you are operating the left leg, it's really the right side that needs, I mean, we need both, you know that, but the right side is really the right hip needs more rotations. I'm going to help you this time, right? I'm not going to move you specifically. So start out, go on, you know what to do. So just core, and then tighten it up. Okay? Now, when you're ready, just do the left leg and just be, you know, just don't look down. Just go and don't try to accomplish something. Just do the movement. Go on. Go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do it again. And then. Now do it on your own. Okay, good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's relax. Okay. Now this is what's funny. This is a teaching technique. It's you know, it's just something I do. So I'm not helping her at all physically functioning. I'm just giving a little squeeze. And you see the first two were precise. Then I let go and it starts to wobble. So it's a teaching technique that's really effective. It's the way to teach ballet, actually.
Yeah. So I think what he's talking about is kind of like when you go to a chiropractor. I mean, at least when I go to the chiropractor, she has this little thing that's like a gun. It kind of like thumps a certain point where it's like a trigger point that reactivates a muscle. So similarly, it seems that obviously this is not chiropractic care, but it seems that what he's demonstrating is he can, through kind of triggering their awareness of a certain muscle through touch, it helps that dancer to subconsciously get in touch with that part, to contract it, to put their focus on that area, and then to kind of let go and let them get back in touch with that, engaging that muscle on their own.
I don't know how you perceive it. I just know that it works, by the way.
Can I try to engage the lead?
On your own? Okay. Just don't look down. And rotate those legs. Right? Go.
Here's another question I have. Again, I don't want to make like brash assumptions here, like I know the full picture of what Eric is trying to convey. I want to have an open mind, but like one thing I'm still confused about is it seems he trains the dancers to have such an intense contraction of their core and their back muscles to where their spine is almost like bored straight. From what I've heard from professionals like physical therapists, chiropractors, and some teachers, obviously they're not teachers, aren't medical professionals, but I've heard having a straight spine is actually quite dangerous and can lead to injury and damage, especially as one gets older, if all the impact in their spine is carried through that straight line versus having the natural curves in the back be somewhat present. At least a slight curve in the spine, obviously not an extreme one, a slight curve in the spine can help with shock absorption, which is obviously important for dancers because we are jumping and our bodies are actually dealing with a lot of force. Our joints are feeling that constantly every time we land, even just coming down from a releve. So I'm still a little bit confused as to why he seems to train the curve out of the spine of each of the dancers he works with. And it kind of seems, at least for Svetlana, not for everybody I've seen, but it seems like it might lead to excess tension in the neck versus allowing that natural curve in the spine to be there. Obviously, it will be elongated compared to our normal state when we're relaxed into gravity. But yeah, that's something I still don't really get about his approach so far.
That was the honest closing, by the way. You see that distance? That's right now what you're now let's do one thing. Let's lift your back up a little bit. And now rotate here a little bit more. Now try. Keep your back up. Keep your back up. Keep your back up. See?
Yes.
Consistently keep your back up. Rotate that. You see that? Yeah. It feels a little clunkier, but this is an honest closing. And by honest, because what you may not be noticing and they're not noticing, just kind of stand in a tendu just to demonstrate. You don't have to do it again. You're tired already. Well, let me just do it. Okay. So what you may have not noticed is this side was a little clunky, but this side didn't move at all. See, this side stayed. You can watch the video later. So this is just yet another detail of it doesn't matter what the moving leg is. It's not a priority. It does matter, but it's not a priority. The fact is, as long as your standing side is not moving, the left, this will only take a couple more days to smooth out. Whereas if anything on the standing side is moving, you're never sorting out the working side.
Okay, so what I'm seeing in learning, again, just about learning, is even if I can get past my, I guess, confusion or unfamiliarity about the position Svetlana's bones are in right now, I can really find a lot of agreement with the principles Eric is teaching on how Svetlana and the rest of us should be using our muscles. I really do actually like his point of hip stability by making sure the glutes on the standing side aren't like dipping, or there's no giving into the force when the standing leg, or sorry, the tendu leg comes in. I think that's fantastic.
For you, maybe a little bit don't love the thing, but notice you got an honest closing, so there was no drop, it was just you were completely still, and it's just a matter of time before you can do that to fit. That's just a little more strength, a little more coordination.
All right. So that was my reaction to Eric Conrad's video. Just one of many, as I have mentioned. I would encourage you to check out his channel. Let me know what you think of it. Again, like, there are a lot of placements that he puts dancers in that I still don't understand. I haven't learned that way. Obviously, I'm not the best dancer in the whole world, so I'm not claiming universal expertise, but I will say I do believe I've been quite well trained, and I've thought deeply about the why behind why I do movements a certain way and why I teach them a certain way, instead of just mindlessly passing down whatever I've learned to others. So yeah, anyway, that being said, I've appreciated this little journey into just a different way of thinking. I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy learning something new. So yes, check out Eric's channel. Let me know what you think of it. Let me know what you think of this video, and be on the lookout. I've got more fun and humorous reaction videos on the horizon on this channel. So be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you'd like to see more like this, and subscribe so you don't miss weekly videos that come out from me every week. All right, dancers, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.